everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittney. This is the Brittney Reacts Show. And on this show, we talk all things entertainment news and movie news. Today, we have a lot of box office to go over because Wish really didn't do well. Like, it did even way worse than I could have expected. And I've been I kind of knew that this probably wasn't going to do super well, but even I'm surprised by just how badly it's doing. We're also going to talk about Marvel. There's a lot of Marvel leaks and rumors coming out about the future of the MCU. I think a lot of things must be in flux behind the scenes. That's why we're getting so many rumors. So there's a rumor of a possible Scarlet Witch movie. There's a rumor of a whole bunch of different sequels, like another Eternals, why? But also Doctor Strange 3, Spider-Man 4, so many things. So we have a lot to talk about today, actually. But how are you guys doing in the chat? Hi Ahsoka, hi Natanya, hi the Animation Critic, hi Ajamin, hi Serendipity, hi Nate, hi Cassidy, hi Joshua Munn, hi Alex, hi Christy, hi Slackjaw, hi Nate, hi Star Film Studio, hi Black Star, and thank you to each and every one of you who comes to my show each and every day. I deeply appreciate it. Alright, so let's jump straight into the news, because like I said, we have a lot to cover today. I know I say that a lot, but genuinely, I don't know how it always ends up happening. I'm like, oh, today is kind of a light news day. And then suddenly, as I'm actually looking through the news, I'm like, wait a minute. No, there's actually a ton of news. That was kind of me today. All right, so the first thing, Wish. Wish is doing terrible. Oh my god, this is actually historically bad. It opened with only 19 million domestically in its first 3 days of opening. 19 million on its debut. Thanksgiving weekend, mind you, Thanksgiving weekend, that's supposed to be huge for Disney. That's awful. In fact, it's 10 million less than Elemental, which earned 29 million. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, well, if Elemental did that badly, maybe this could be the next Elemental, but no. This movie opened so poorly that even if it did have the same legs as Elemental, it would still be a massive flop. That's how bad this opening is, really. I know, Natanya, it is a huge yikes. It has not been Disney's year prototype. It has honestly been, I think, their worst year ever, and it's their 100th anniversary. It's kind of it's honestly cruel irony. The 100th anniversary is supposed to be this huge deal, and this has to be the year where every single thing has gone wrong for them. They've had flop after flop. They've had controversy after controversy. I mean, the only thing that seems to have gone right for them this year is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And the guy who made that is about to go work for the competition. That's how bad their year is going. It's honestly pretty surprising. Not that surprising, but it is pretty shocking. So, again, this movie was tracking already to do pretty well. It was tracking to open with just around 40 million, and it still managed to slip under that. Worldwide, it opened to 49 million over the 5-day opening, because they're counting the whole Thanksgiving week practically. And it still opened at number 3 worldwide. They're counting 5 full days. The whole worldwide total. This isn't just coming from the US. This is representative of the whole world. And it couldn't even crack 50 million on its debut. Thanksgiving weekend. Couldn't get to 50 million worldwide. Couldn't even make it to the top 2. Napoleon and the Hunger Games movie are doing better than this. Napoleon's an almost 3-hour biopic film that stars... it has big actors in it, and it's a Ridley Scott movie, so it does have prestige to it. I get it. In fact, I myself want to see Napoleon. But Napoleon is, again, it's a almost 3-hour war epic drama that, I just don't understand how that kind of a movie is doing better than the latest Disney animated princess film. That just seems crazy and backwards to me, but that's the world we're living in right now. It's pretty insane. Artemis says the only thing people wish for is that Disney would go away. We are going to talk about my reasons for why I think this movie is flopping, and that is one of them, so keep that in mind. Blackstar says, I wish this movie was better. I see what you did there. Joshua Munn says Disney and Warner Brothers have had the worst year ever. LOL, both 100 years old this year. I know. Who had the worst year? This guy's. Oh my God, can I speak today? Who had the worst year this year? Was it Disney or Warner Brothers? Honestly, both of them have had a very, very bad year. But I think Disney actually takes the cake because at least Warner Brothers had Barbie. Jorge Barrios, thank you so much for the super chat. Disney's biggest mistake, pushing their views on people's kids. Well, again, I have a whole slide coming up about why I think this movie didn't do well. In fact, why don't we just get to it? Because I just want to put this all into perspective for you. Disney almost always puts a huge animated film on Thanksgiving opening weekend. This is where they open Frozen. This is where they open Moana, Coco, Tangled. In fact, if you look at just the biggest openings for a Thanksgiving release, Disney actually owns 8 out of the top 10 biggest Thanksgiving releases of all time. The only 2 movies that are in this top 10 that aren't Disney are Creed 2 and Four Christmases. Everything else here is Disney. So Disney should be dominating this holiday. This is what they normally do. This is why they always release a movie at this time, because kids are out of school, parents are off work, it's a holiday where all the family gets together and maybe you go see a movie together. This is supposed to be like a big family holiday. And Wish couldn't even come close to any of these numbers. It's actually pretty shocking. That's why when I say this is shockingly bad, when you look at the comparison here, you can see just how bad it is compared to like how previous movies have done at the same release date. Danny says, oh my God, I forgot about Warner Brothers. That's true. They also turned 100. Yeah, I mean, the only good thing that Warner Brothers really had this year was Barbie. And thank God for that. Emily says, even Disney's biggest movie didn't gross $1 billion, right? Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was one of their biggest, if not one of the biggest, if it didn't break $1 billion. Yeah, I know. Even Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, even though it's their only success for this year, even Volume 3 didn't make as much as Volume 2. So even that movie was still like, if not every other movie had completely like flopped and bombed on its face the way that it had, like say Disney actually had like a pretty decent year this year or even a good year, people would actually be saying that Guardians 3 slightly underperformed because it didn't make as much as the last one, even though it should have made a lot more after they've already been in the Avengers movies and like so much has happened since then, but they still made less. In fact, it opened quite a bit less as well. The only reason it even made as much as it did is because people really liked the movie and kept going to go see it over and over again like I did. So you're very much right. So thank you for bringing up that point. Even their one good success this year, which was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, still was like only just barely a success. It could have been a huge flop if people didn't like it. But I do think this speaks to the issues that Disney has overall. Again, going back to this, I think one of the main issues, we have to talk about it. I know it's uncomfortable. I know, but we have to talk about the Disney adult situation. I think one of the reasons this movie didn't do well is just because the perception of Disney as a company and being a Disney fan has never been lower. People are actually mocked for liking Disney movies and going to see Disney movies now. I really think this is one of the main number one reasons why a lot of Disney movies aren't doing well. It's like considered almost taboo if you're an adult and you're like, oh, I want to go see the latest Disney movie. Everyone's like, oh, so you're like this guy. Are you lame? Are you weird? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't know why Disney adults have become just like the punching bag of the internet, but they have. And I feel like, especially with teenagers who are all obsessed about being cool and wanting to be accepted, right now, the least cool thing that I think a lot of teens think anyone else can do is like be a Disney fan. This is how I think Disney adults and a lot of Disney fans are even perceived nowadays. I really do think they have a huge perception problem in not just like, I think that Disney has a problem with not just their movies not being perceived that well, but also just it's not even cool to like them. And I think that's part of the issue here, just broadly speaking. People just don't like Disney at all. Like, people are very anti-Disney and anti-Disney fans. I think that definitely had a hand in why Wish isn't doing as well, to be honest. Wish could have been an actual good movie. Wish could have actually been, like, as well received as Frozen and Moana and any of those other films. And I still think it would have done poorly just because the perception of Disney is so bad right now. Laura B says, I'm a proud Disney adult. I don't care. Right? I love Disney. I don't care. I'm an adult and I love Disney. I've been to Disney World and Disneyland countless times. I don't care. Y'all, anyone can make fun of me. I really don't care anymore. Like, but to be honest, even though I can say that, still objectively speaking, I can still admit we're not seen as cool. I mean, I never have, but like, still, Disney adults, no one wants to be considered one anymore. So even like showing up to do a Disney movie is like seen as taboo amongst people now. And I think that's a huge issue that more people should be talking about, to be honest. Star Film Studio says, I watch kids movies for I get a balance between kids movies and violent and bloody movies and shows like Murder Drones. I mean, there's actually a lot of good kids content, to be honest. When Elena of Avalor was airing, I actually watched the Elena series because that was actually pretty good. There are some good kids shows out there, I'll be honest. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. If anyone shames you for watching movies, slap them. Oh, thank you, Angel. I appreciate the support. You guys are very sweet. Oh, Natanya thinks Disney adults are better than anime fans. Oh, that's a hot take. Hot take indeed, Natanya. Slackjaw agrees with my theory. Yeah, I really think this is a huge part of it. But even more than that, a lot of Disney movies lately have not been very well received. Like, they've been kind of getting middling audience scores. Like, for example, Strange World got a B, and on a scale of what how cinema score goes, a B for an animated family film is actually considered really bad. I know if you got a B on a test, that might seem like, oh, that's pretty good. But for cinema score, a B, anything below an A really is actually considered really bad. That just means people aren't really into the movie. They think it's just okay. They're probably not going to go like tell everyone to go see it. So B is really bad. Really anything in the B range. And they've been having a lot of movies come out in the B range, which has been the problem. Like, they had Indiana Jones, which was also a B plus movie. They had, of course, The Marvels, which is very recent. That was a B movie. They also had Quantumania, which was a B movie. So they've had a lot of movies come out recently that either people just straight out didn't like, or they thought was just okay. So Disney definitely has a perception of quality issue. Like, I think nowadays, people don't know what they're going to get from a Disney film. They don't know if they're going to get another Elemental, which I don't think was amazing, but at least was, I think, pretty decent and solid. Or are they going to get a Quantumania, which I think is a travesty against cinema? So you never know what you're going to get from Disney anymore. Is it going to be actually pretty good, or is it going to be, Quantumania? That's a pretty big range between good and awful, in my opinion. And mixed with the fact that a lot of people are kind of struggling for cash right now. I mean, I don't know if we're officially in a recession, if they've officially called it, but I know a lot of people are really struggling. Money's tight for a lot of people. Not everyone can go to the theater all the time. So people are being more discerning and more choosy with which movie they choose to go see in theaters. So I think the fact that Disney movies have been so hit and miss lately, they're thinking, oh, maybe I'll just wait and go see it on Disney Plus. And I think with Wish, I think this movie just screams, wait for Disney Plus on it. I really think most people are just thinking, yeah, I'll wait. I don't need to see a Disney film right away in theaters. It'll be on Disney Plus eventually. And Wish is just another casualty of that mindset. Joshua Munn says, Disney confirmed they'll never make Willow and Indiana Jones movies ever again. Only Star Wars movies and shows, only from now on. I know! I hate that they're kind of pigeonholing Lucasfilm to just Star Wars movies. Mainly because you can't... I think they've already proven that oversaturating Star Wars can honestly kill that brand. Because I think if Star Wars isn't dead, it's very, very close to being dead. And it's because they've oversaturated the brand. So I'm a little nervous about that. But yeah, thank you for the comment. Yeah, Slackjaw says we broke. I mean, but honestly, a lot of people are these days. If you are broke, are you, as a person who is maybe hearing all this controversy around Disney and like knowing that a lot of their movies have been kind of hit and miss lately, are you gonna see every Disney movie that comes to theaters, or are you gonna wait and wait and see what people are saying, or just wait to go see it on streaming? I think a lot of people are just waiting, and that's also why Wish didn't do very well. Shelly Lee says, I quit all streaming and took out a subscription for AMC A-List instead. For $25 a month, I can see 3 movies a week. AMC A-List is a great deal. I also have AMC A-List. That is the only way I can see all these movies as that I have to talk about, because otherwise it'd be crazy expensive, especially here in New York. So yeah, highly recommend AMC A-List. Definitely worth the money. Ellie says, right, they thought they hit the jackpot with Disney Plus, but now everyone doesn't watch the movie in theaters because they wait for streaming. I think Disney Plus is honestly behind a lot of Disney's issues. I think it's diluted the brand. It's oversaturated a lot of their IPs. I think a lot of the stuff that's on Disney Plus isn't that good, so it just makes the perception of quality even lower. Yeah, Disney Plus is a huge problem. And getting to what a couple of you have alluded to earlier in the stream, there is another issue that Disney has, and that it's in the middle of a major cultural political war that it just cannot seem to get itself out of. And I think that's something that obviously has to be talked about, because they have people on both the left and the right furious with Disney, like boycotting Disney, claiming they will never support Disney, watch anything Disney, all for different reasons, but they still have people both on the left and right hating them like intensely, to the point where they just don't even want to support them anymore. You have conservatives who do not like Disney because they don't like the social messaging in the movies, and then you have a lot of liberals who don't like Disney because they don't think they take the social messaging far enough, or the most recent boycott is actually over Disney's support of Israel. And I think that's probably a sizable enough amount of people that it probably also had an effect on Wish's box office. So the fact that they're in the middle of this crazy culture war where they have literally everyone on all sides of the political spectrum angry at them can't, again, help with their reputation and overall image. I really think at the end of the day, Wish did so badly not just because Wish is just an okay movie. And I did release a whole video. If you guys didn't watch my whole 1-hour live stream where I talked about Wish, I did just release a 10-minute sort of recap of it where I talked about my issues with Wish and why I don't think it's a good movie. But even if Wish was a good movie, I still don't think it would do very well because of this. Because people are absolutely pissed with them for just everything under the sun. And their movies haven't been received that well. People are broke. Disney adults are considered lame and embarrassing. I mean, there are a lot of reasons. I mean, the fact that South Park just went for the jugular. They went for the absolute jugular. Just critiquing the hell out of Disney and they did not hold back at all on that special. But the fact that South Park felt so bold and so safe to even critique Disney in such a way, so publicly, just shows you how far from graces they have fallen. Like, this is the image of Disney currently. This image right here. So when you put all of this together, I really do think that it paints a pretty bleak picture for Disney as a company, but also I think it paints a bleak picture for kind of almost every Disney release coming out from here on out, especially the animated films. I think the fact that a Disney princess movie couldn't even come out on number 1 on Thanksgiving weekend, and it's number 3, it's not even number 2, it's literally number 3. That's so bad. That's not even just hatred. That's also apathy sitting in. And you guys know how I feel about that. Apathy is actually worse than hatred. At least with hatred, there's still some passion there, but apathy, how do you fix apathy? This is actually really embarrassing, like really embarrassing. But what do you guys think? What do you agree with? What do you not agree with? What did I leave out? Angel Barrera, thank you again for the super chat. Both the left and right hate Disney. PR. So what you're saying is Disney has brought different people together. You know what's funny? Disney wants so badly for everyone to come together and just sing Kumbaya and, all of that good stuff. But the only way they have actually brought people together is by hating them. It's so ironic, but it's true. Prototype says, seeing Mickey wearing a Make America Great Again cap is so cursed. Well, I know you're talking about this picture here. But this picture is actually in front of the Walt Disney World sign in Florida. There have been protesters literally standing in front of the Disney World sign, like saying all sorts of honestly, some really hateful stuff too. Like the fact that there are protesters in front of the Disney World sign, like almost every day, that should just show you that they have a really huge political issue that they honestly need to address before they even have a chance of turning their company around. This can't be ignored, unfortunately. It's a huge problem. Any other thoughts here? The Blue Gecko Nerd says, what did Nick Wilde say from Zootopia? Oh, Artemis, I know that the live action Bambi, I have no idea what they're going to do with that. What are they going to do with that? The fact that South Park also made fun of the Bambi movie is really funny to me, but what are they going to do with that? That can only be... I hope it's not going to be super uncanny. I just hope that it's at least decent. I hope it's at least decent. Hopefully. Little Joe's Animation says, why did Disney butt into the freaking government? Like, what? I think they were just trying to be very progressive with their values, and I think the whole world is just not on the same page on what we can agree with what our values are. And in a climate where everything is just getting so incredibly politically divisive, and everything is like, I feel like both the left and the right are pulling to like such extremes on both ends that Disney being in the center of that is probably the worst position they could possibly be. And somehow they keep getting themselves even more into the mix of it. And they really, really need to take themselves out, like, as quickly as they can for, like, the sake of the company. I just don't know how they're going to do it. Jorge Barrios, thank you so much for the super chat. The Proud Family Slavery episode on Disney Plus also left people shocked with Disney. I remember that coming out everywhere. I never watched the Proud Family episode. I do remember there was some sort of controversy over it, but I was in the middle of, I think, something else at the time. I just never got around to it. But I did hear that it was controversial. Sorry, I don't have more of an opinion on it. Thank you for the super chat. Rhea Lynn says there's rumors for a reason that Iger was trying to be a diplomat for either the UK or China. Well, Bob Iger was actually thinking about running for president before, COVID happened and the world changed. I think the reason why Disney decided to go so hard left and so progressive is because Bob Iger originally wanted to run for office as a Democrat, and he probably wanted to say, oh, look at what I did with Disney and our social change. Look how progressive I am. Now vote for me. I think that's kind of part of what he was going for. Julian Esteban says, I hope it'll make a comeback like Elemental. Maybe it will. Maybe it'll have an Elemental comeback. But like I said, if you actually do the math, even if it holds just as well as Elemental did, because it opened so low, it'll still be a massive flop. It still won't even catch Elemental, unfortunately. So this is going to be a disaster no matter what happens to it. It opened too low for it not to be. It would have to hold like an Avatar film or something for it to catch up at this point. For president. Bob Iger wanted to be president. Look it up. That's a fact. Joshua Munn says, and the Proud Family interracial dating. I don't know anything about Proud Family, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, I just wanted to bring up some of my thoughts on why I think Wish isn't doing well. Again, I think a large part of the reason it isn't doing well is because I think just the image of Disney itself is heavily damaged. Again, this movie could have been a lot better, and it still probably would have struggled for the reasons I just said. So Disney has a lot to do to turn itself around. I don't know what they're going to do. But I don't know. Again, this is probably the roughest patch Disney has ever gone through. I have no idea what they're going to do to turn themselves around, but they got to do something quick because this is abysmal. Like, absolutely abysmal. But anyway, moving on to entertainment news now, because we do have a lot to talk about with Marvel. So, a lot of this news, again, take it with a grain of salt. It is all rumor. However, I do have a reason to actually believe a lot of it is true. Mainly because it's coming from this source here, Daniel Rickman. I believe that's how you say his name. But he is a scooper on Twitter. He actually has a lot of good scoops. He's, I think, right more often than he's wrong. He has a whole Patreon if anyone wants to go follow him for scoops. But all of the news here I'm about to go over is coming from his Patreon. So if you want to check him out, go do so. But anyway, one of the things he's hearing from his sources is that Marvel Studios is reportedly considering doing a Scarlet Witch movie. And I think, finally, that sounds like the first sensible thing Marvel has agreed to do in a long time. You guys know I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm a huge Wanda fan. Honestly, I think at this point, I'm more of a Wanda fan than I am a Marvel fan, just because I feel like my interest in the franchise is declining rapidly. But I still love my girl Wanda, though. Love Wanda, love her down, love Scarlet Witch. I had been telling Marvel, screaming at them really, that I've been wanting a Scarlet Witch movie for a long time. In fact, I've been a Wanda fan even before WandaVision. In fact, way back in the day, in like yesteryear, when I was still heavily on Tumblr, I actually had a Tumblr. This is how much of an OG Wanda and Vision fan I am. Way back in the day when Age of Ultron came out, and that's when we first got our first glimpse of Wanda and Vision together, I actually made a Tumblr page called, get this, WandaVision. This wasn't again, this is after Age of Ultron came out. So I think this was in when did Age of Ultron come out? 2015 or something? So this was ages and ages before the WandaVision show actually became a thing. But this is how much of a fan I was all the way 10 years ago. I even had a WandaVision. Literally, it was called WandaVision. I had a whole Tumblr page dedicated to it. But anyway, huge fan. I think that this is a no-brainer. She's easily, I think, Marvel's most popular female character. Obviously, Marvel really wants more female characters to be popular in the MCU. That's why they keep trying to make Captain Marvel happen. It's not going to happen. Sorry. But Wanda is happening. In fact, WandaVision was a huge hit. It got 6.5 million views in America within its first couple weeks or something. It was one of the actual successes of Disney Plus. They haven't had a lot since then, but it was actually one of Disney Plus's few hit shows. So it makes sense that they'd want to do another spin-off of it. In fact, this movie isn't the only spin-off that they're doing of WandaVision. They're also doing the Agatha show, and they just released a whole teaser for the Agatha show. You guys know I'm actually looking forward to the Agatha show too, because again, I like Wanda. It is creepy burning daylighter. I know, I was actually, you're talking about my WandaVision Tumblr page. In fact, when WandaVision came out, I went back to my old Tumblr page. It's down now. I don't think you guys can find it. But I went back to my old Tumblr account and I was like, oh my god, I literally called this in 2015. It's called WandaVision. But anyway, yeah. But they have, because WandaVision was such a big hit, they have a lot of spin-offs coming out. One of them is called Agatha Darkhold Diaries. They just released a teaser. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's mainly just a featurette, not really a teaser. They have a lot of interviews in it, but we do get to see some, I guess, a little bit of a tease as to what they're going to have from the show. Mainly, we're just kind of seeing the fashion. We don't really get a whole lot of, details on the plot just yet, but either way, I'm still really excited for it. I liked Agatha. I know not everyone in the Marvel fan base is, into this show. There's a lot of people that are like, why in the world is Agatha getting her own show? But I don't care. I'm here for it. So yeah, I mean, I think it looks decent. We have no idea really what the show is going to be. Here is some more images from the show. Is anyone actually looking forward to Agatha? Nana says, after the awful Black Widow movie, I don't know how to feel about Wanda getting a movie. Well, I hope a Wanda movie would be better than the Black Widow movie. I actually don't hate the Black Widow movie. I had a lot of fun with it, but I know people didn't like it. But yeah, I think hopefully a Wanda movie can be better than that. I think Wanda herself is a better, more interesting character than Natasha is. So I think just inherently it should be better just because we have a more interesting character to focus on. In my opinion, at least. Joshua Munn says, oh, I did hear that Disney admitted that they got too political in their messaging. I know. I think they're probably going to do some changes just because it's obviously affecting their box office, so they're going to have to. I do wonder where their line is going to be. I don't want them to go into, like, conservative content. I definitely don't want it to swing in the opposite direction. But I understand that I think they try to do too much too fast, and people got really upset with them. Nicholas Wilson, you're also looking forward to Agatha. See, I love how somehow I have found, like, maybe the dozen Agatha stans who, actually watch my show. I don't know how, but I'm so glad you guys are actually excited for it too. Arvin is excited for it. Okay. Shelly is excited for it. We're good. All right. ETPS says, haven't finished WandaVision, but I liked Agatha's character so far. Man, again, watch Agatha end up being like the biggest hit for Disney Plus since like Loki season 2. I would love that. The surprise of it all would be hilarious to me. Watch people actually watch this show. Like, watch this be the most talked about show since She-Hulk. I feel like it could happen. I really do. I love Maritu says, it's because they shove the political themes down everyone's throat. It's becoming annoying. Disney's pandering is what's annoying. They don't know how to do any political messaging right because it tends to be super on the nose, and then it ends up becoming more important than the story or the characterization. So then you get really mid movies, which is why they keep getting so many mid movies. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. The MCU has introduced the multiverse, White Vision, Harry Styles, Shang-Chi, and Moon Knight. What have they done with it? Well, we are going to get to that in a second, so I'm glad that you mentioned that. Hang tight, Angel Barrera. We are going to talk about that. I know, Ellie, what if grief, if not love, persevering? That was a great line. Like, remember when people were so in tuned to the MCU that people cared about a single line? Like, people were going crazy about that one line on social media. I can't imagine like something like that happening on a Disney Plus show now. Like, people are just completely tuned out. Zoe says Disney Plus needs to remove their ads first. Imagine watching few ads in between their Wanda movie. Oh, God. That would be awful. Yeah, I hope they don't do that. I hope this isn't a Disney Plus movie. I hope it's actually like a Disney movie that goes to a theater. I do not want this to be a Disney Plus thing. Speaking of Disney Plus things, though, again, we're getting lots of WandaVision spin-offs. Like, apparently we're getting this Vision Quest that's in the works. This is an old thing. This isn't new, but this is still happening, I think. I don't think they've canceled it yet. So we're getting this whole Vision Quest show, which could be good. We're also getting a spin-off for Wiccan, which is one of Wanda's kids. Again, I think that could be fun. I would love to see... Honestly, what I want Wanda's movie to be about is I want Wanda to just try to get her kids back, try to actually make things real, and like I just want to see her go absolutely crazy trying to do that. I know that's kind of what Multiverse of Madness was, but like I want her to actually succeed. I want to see her with her kids. I want to see them like doing stuff together. Like, I don't know. This is what I would want to see from a Wanda movie. Like her teaming up with Wiccan and Speed and like doing stuff together as like a cool, fun, magical family. With her being crazy. Because one of the reasons why I love Wanda is that she is crazy. She's not, she's not this perfect little person. She's very complicated and very messy. I don't want Disney to take away Wanda's messiness because I think that's what makes her endearing. So I want that to be part of the movie. But I think a Wanda movie could be really good. And I think it could do really well at the box office too, just because there are a lot of Wanda fans. And because WandaVision was so successful. So, I hope they do make this movie. I don't know if this is like just a rumor. They're just thinking about it. They might not do it. But I really hope they do actually follow through. Because I think a Wanda movie would actually do really well. At least that's what I think. Do you guys think a Wanda movie would do well? Or do you think my hype is just getting in the way? Oh, okay. E443 wants a Wanda redemption at this point. Is she redeemable, though? I mean, after everything she did in Multiverse of Madness, can she be redeemed? I feel like she was always going to be an anti-hero. Laura B, thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. That's great. Thank you so much for supporting the channel that long. I don't think it's a good idea to make a Disney Plus show to lead to a Wanda movie. It's the Marvels all over again. True. I really hope that these shows aren't like required viewing for the Wanda movie. I totally agree with you. I want this Wanda movie to only be dependent on WandaVision, and that's it. I don't want this to feel like you have to watch a ton of homework in order to get this movie. I'm totally with you, Laura. I hope they don't do that at all. Okay, Olden says they would watch. Okay. Slim just thinks they've lost the sauce. Yeah. Unfortunately, I do think that there's a certain level of hype that Marvel will probably just never get back to again. But anyway, moving on. There are other rumors about other things that Marvel is planning to do in the future. Like, apparently they're thinking about doing a Doctor Strange 3. Which obviously they teased it at the end of Doctor Strange 2, so not surprising. The only thing is, like, when is this going to come out? Because Doctor Strange 2 came out last year, like early last year. And then, when are they actually going to get to this? Is it going to be another, like, 5-6 year break again? I feel like what a danger that Marvel is finding itself in is now, because they have so many characters to get to and so many franchises, it's taking forever to get to each sequel. So even though I am looking forward to Doctor Strange 3, even though I didn't like the sequel as much, I still like Doctor Strange as a character. I'm just like, when are we actually going to get this? Is this going to be like a 2026 release? Like, I don't know. How are we supposed to get like super, super hyped for stuff when we know it's going to take like 5 to 6 years to get a sequel? I feel like that's a really big problem that Disney and Marvel is running into at the moment. Yeah, Brandon, the MCU as a whole does need a redemption. Honestly, in my opinion, what I think Marvel should do to turn things around, I think they need to reboot. I know not everyone wants a reboot. I get it. I think they can even do a soft reboot where they do keep some people. But I think, honestly, what they need to do is just, like, start over. I think their overall storyline has gotten so convoluted that, like, casual moviegoers are, like, completely tapping out because they're like, there's too much homework for me to catch up on all this. I can't do it. I really do think that it's just getting too much for, like, the average person that isn't, like, constantly watching Marvel all the time. I think a reboot and then focusing on new characters and a new universe would do a lot to, like, help new fans get on board. That's why I think they really should be getting to a reboot much faster than it seems like they are, because this isn't the only thing they're working on. They're apparently also working on a sequel to Eternals, which, it's like, why are we getting a sequel to Eternals before we're getting to the reboot? I really feel like the reboot is like a necessity to get Marvel back on track. But with all of these, like, possible movies being made, it just seems like the reboot is only getting further and further out. And I'm just like, I thought we were trying to get to a reboot sooner rather than later, but now I'm thinking this Secret Wars reboot thing is probably not going to happen until, like, 2030. Because, like, why are we working on an Eternals 2? Why are we also, apparently, working on a Shang-Chi 2, even though I liked the first Shang-Chi? We still have Fantastic Four. We still have Deadpool 3. Spider-Man 4. Like, we have a ton of stuff coming out. I mean, here's a huge list right here of a lot of the movies and shows they've announced that they have coming out. And I feel like this is a lot. Like, a lot to get through before we even get to Secret Wars. Which is, again, where they're rumored to be sort of rebooting the universe, and I totally believe that rumor. So even though I'm really excited about these projects, I'm like, wait a minute, I thought, how far away is Secret Wars if we're getting all of these movies before then? This is what I'm a little bit nervous about. What do you guys think, though? I know, the neck, right? The neck is taking me out, too. Angel says, Eternals, remember that celestial in the ocean? I mean, they do have a lot of loose, like, story threads from that movie they need to cover. I get that. And as a huge Harry Styles fan, you guys know I love Harry Styles. I would love to see an Eternals 2 just to see him back. like as a personal thing, just like for my own personal interest, but just thinking about like business-wise, does it really make a lot of sense to make an Eternals 2? As much as I would love a Harry Styles-led Marvel movie, that sounds like a movie specifically designed for me. As much as I would love that, business-wise, I don't think this makes a lot of sense. Just because the first Eternals didn't do very well, and it wasn't, like, universally well received. Some people do like it, but a lot of people really don't like Eternals, myself included. I thought the best part of Eternals was the end credit scene. So, you know, I just don't understand why we're greenlighting all this extra stuff, when, in my opinion, I really feel like we should be hauling ass to Secret Wars to reboot this whole thing. I don't think by the time we get to this reboot, which probably won't even be till like 2030 at this point, I don't think audiences are going to care. Like, look at all this stuff that's coming out. People are already getting tired of superhero stuff. Do you think by the time we get to Secret Wars, people are still going to be just as hyped? I don't know. I don't know. Natanya. Because I like you, I will allow it this one time. Burning Daylighter says Harry can't act. You know, he could grow. he could be better. Brianna Does Art says, to be honest, whatever Marvel does, they need to slow down. They need to stop churning out so much content so fast. We don't have any time to digest any of these releases. Exactly. I mean, Loki season 2 ended not too long ago, and it was actually a really good season with a really huge, like, ending, like, impactful ending. And I still feel like people aren't even talking about Loki. Loki just came out like a couple weeks ago. It just ended and people are already over it. Why? Because there's so many other Marvel things to talk about. I mean, we're talking about something else right now. So, yeah, I think it's a huge issue that the fact that they have all of this stuff, it kind of dilutes each and every one because each one gets less special attention just because there's so much to go around. Angel Pereira, oh my gosh, thank you so much for the super chat. Place your bets which project will get canceled. Honestly, most of these should get canceled. I don't know if all of these are actually going to get made. Some of them already are made, they're just waiting to be released. But honestly, I think most of these should be canceled, to be honest. What do you guys think, though? I Love Maritu says, and working on too much at once oversaturates the story. Yes, true. The fact that Disney and Marvel are working on like a lot of visual effects heavy stuff at once is also why the visual effects has been suffering. Because there's so many visual effects studios and so many visual effects artists to actually go around to do this kind of work. So the fact that they have so much in development at once is also contributing to the declining quality of their movies as well. It is a lot of content. It is. Guy says at least 50% of that list should go. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, again, I'm really excited for Deadpool 3. Apparently, Deadpool 3 is going to be, like, the most important movie of the saga. Not surprised by that. It has some of the biggest characters in Marvel in it, so it should be. I mean, really excited for Spider-Man 4. Love me some Spider-Man. I'm still excited for Shang-Chi, too. I like the first Shang-Chi. But I think it's still a lot. It's still a lot. If this was all we were getting, like this right here, these 4 movies plus the Wanda movie, I'd be like, you know what? I'm good, Marvel. This is actually a really good slate. I'm okay with this. But the fact that we're getting all of this plus an Eternals plus all of this is like, it's too much. It's way, way too much. Yes, Sweet Dream says, I can't even keep up with everything. Yeah. Amarex says, I'm hyped for Miss Marvel Season 2. Amon Villani is very likable. They did see... sorry. Yes, you're right. I don't have a slide for this, but there is another rumor that there could be a Miss Marvel Season 2. That is another thing that I actually think would be good. Unlike all of the other Disney Plus shows where I really think they should be canceled, I think a Miss Marvel Season 2 would actually see an increase from the first season just because Amon is a lot more popular and well-known now. So a Miss Marvel Season 2 I actually think would do really well. But a lot of these other Disney Plus shows really should be canceled. Deadpool will flop as well. Oh, Q Hefner, that is a hot take. I mean, I have been saying that I think it could underperform, and I still think it, honestly, it might. I don't think it's going to be $1 billion movie. but I still think it can make around at least what the second Deadpool movie made. Laura B, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. Wow, Laura B, that is incredible of you. Wow, thank you so much. Who's a member now? Ajamin's a member, Blue Gecko Nerd's a member, HP's a member, Burning Daylighter's a member, Semi Charmed is a member. Wow, thank you so much, Laura B. You guys are so kind and so generous. You guys are great. And now you guys get to participate in our community posts. And we are going to get to the community posts in a minute. It's about Wish. It's at the end of the live stream. We also have WTF news, by the way, so make sure you stick around for that. But thank you, Laura B. So kind of you. Really appreciate it. Webslinger says, the crazy part is it's not just the MCU. You have to know. You also got to know all the Sony Spider-Mans, past X-Men, and Deadpool movies to fully understand everything because of the multiverse. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm nervous about Deadpool 3 and why I don't think it's an automatic billion-dollar movie like a lot of people do, just because there is a considerable amount of homework that goes into this movie. Not only do you have to see the Deadpool movies, but you gotta see, like, Logan, you gotta see the X-Men movies, pretty much at least the original trilogy, I imagine. Plus, you gotta be familiar with, like, MCU lore, because Deadpool likes to make fun of the MCU a lot. So there's a lot of homework and just, like, general knowledge of superhero movies you gotta have to, like, go into this movie. That's, again, why I think Deadpool 3 is, like, at least, I think it'll still do well if it's good, just because it has Hugh Jackman and, like, you know, all these big characters, but I don't think it's gonna be, like, the billion-dollar mega hit that some people think it is. I think if it makes as much as Deadpool 2, honestly, I would take that as a win at this point, in my opinion. Maiden says, can you imagine how many movies you'll have to watch when they finally end these Marvel characters? Oh my gosh. I mean, think about how many movies you have to watch right now. The entire MCU. I mean, how many movies is it at this point? It's got to be like 30-something movies, maybe 40-something movies. And then the TV shows on top of that. That sounds exhausting. No one's going to watch all that. No one. But anyway. Again, I just wanted to point this out. They're not even starting Shang-Chi 2 production until 2024 or 2025. They're not even going to start filming this movie until, like, possibly 2025. That's not even next year. That's, like, the year after next year. This movie came out already, like, 2 years ago. So that means by the time this movie comes out, it'll probably be, like, 2026. And it'll have been, like, at least 5 years since we got the first Shang-Chi. And that came out during the pandemic, mind you. So with all this superhero fatigue going on and the fact that the MCU is kind of in decline, by the time this movie even comes out, even though I liked the first one, are people even gonna care? Like, it's taking so long to even get to the sequel. Like, are people still gonna care? That's what I'm not concerned about. I just don't know if they are, to be honest. I think interest in superhero films are dropping by the year. And by the time this movie comes out, I really don't think it has a chance in hell at being a hit, even if it's really good. And again, I liked the first movie. I'm trying to be as objective as I can here. And, like, from a business sense, I just think the sequel is already coming out too late. This is my whole point, where I'm just like, this is too much. They got too much on their plate. Now they've got, like, all these movies coming out, like, 5 years after each other. It's a mess. The MCU is a mess. And this is why I think they should just stop and reboot as quickly as they can. In my opinion, that's the only way to save this mess. But I don't think that's what they're doing. It sounds like they're just going to keep putting out all of these movies and then get to reboot, like, maybe by 2030. And let's just hope people care by then, honestly. Yeah, Nate says not going to watch all that. Yeah, they definitely milked it too hard, unfortunately. Definitely agree. Cheetah Viper says, too much homework and characters that aren't being well received. Yeah, those are probably Marvel's 2 biggest problems right now, for sure. All right, now getting to the member question. Again, I did ask you guys about Wish this time. I asked you guys, why do you think Wish did so badly? Again, it's not even doing, like, just okay. Like, remember when I told you guys I think there's a difference between a movie underperforming at the box office, a movie flopping at the box office, and a movie, like, straight up bombing? Wish is straight up bombing. It's not even flopping. It's just straight up bombing. That's how badly it's doing. So I asked you guys, what are your reasons for this? Why do you think it's doing so badly? And as always, I got a lot of great comments. You guys are always great with your comments. If you want to be a member, just press the join button at the bottom of the screen. It would really help the channel. So, Me Motelier says, I was about to say I haven't seen an ad campaign for this movie in my country, Argentina. And that is because it won't premiere here until January. I'm shocked Disney decided to delay it so much. I don't know if this is happening around the world, but this speaks volumes. Disney doesn't even think this is going to do well. If not, why didn't they do a worldwide premiere? By the time we have the chance to watch it, the rest of the world would have already forgotten about it. That is a great point, Mead Multiplier, and I didn't even know that, so thank you for enlightening me on the situation. But I do think the marketing for this movie was pretty bad. Like, I feel like they waited pretty much until the last second to really do a huge marketing push for this movie, and I think it was too late by the time they started. I think there's a lot of people who just had, like, no idea this movie was even coming out. In fact, when I was at the theater to go see the Hunger Games movie, I was kind of like overhearing what some of the, not even like the guests were saying, but these were actually two workers who were there. They were like talking, and I was kind of overhearing what they were saying. And they were talking about Wish. They were like, oh, there's this new Disney movie coming out called Wish. Came out of nowhere. And this was like a week ago. So actual movie theater workers were like, what the heck is this Wish movie? Had no idea it's coming out. That's not a good sign if even people who work at the movie theater like aren't even aware of your movie. So I definitely think that ad marketing has been pretty bad for this movie. So that's probably that's definitely one of the reasons why I think this movie is not doing well. Thank you again for letting me know about Argentina. I had no idea. And yeah, thank you again. So Nicholas Wilson says, it could be they're spread too thin. Trying to churn out so much content between their movies and Disney Plus content means the talent is spread across too many projects and they're taking on out-of-touch hacks to fill in the gaps. Yeah, I definitely agree with this. I think a lot of the execs in charge are definitely out of touch. I think that's definitely part of the problem for sure. I guess the alternate explanation could be that executives were out of touch all along and they can't keep up with the changing face of media, but more likely it's both. You know what? I think part of the issue is that we have execs in Disney who, honestly, I think they just don't understand what like kids and teens today want at all. Like, I don't think they understand the Gen Z mindset or even Gen Alpha like at all. And I think they're still trying to cater to millennials and Gen X and older. And I think that's working less and less because that generation is aging out of these movies and they're trying to get younger people to care. But again, like we talked about earlier, younger people, they think Disney is lame. They think Disney adults are lame. So I think part of the issue is that we do have a lot of, out of touch execs who have no idea what the kids like today and they're only making it worse. And it's a bad situation all around. I think they need new talent over there, not just creative talent, but new executive talent. I think they probably need at least someone who understands Gen Z, because I don't think they really have someone like that over there. That's what I would say, to be honest with you. Arvin says kids want bloody and gory stuff. I think kids do want some more, like, not just dark stuff. I think they want, like, something that actually has consequences and weight to it. Like, a lot of kids are playing like really violent video games and like, they're watching like really dark, sophisticated animes with like complex storylines and stuff like that. I think that they do want more edgy, sophisticated stuff. I think there's this perception that like all kids or Gen Z or whatever just really want like really like, I don't know, shallow, just for fun kind of content, but I don't think that's true. I think honestly they want the opposite. They do want something with consequences and weight and dramatic effect and all of that. Like, I think one of the reasons that Disney doesn't appeal to younger audiences is because their movies have become too sugary and shallow and don't have a lot of weight or meat to them. I think kids really do like the dark stuff, to be honest with you. Alexander Padilla says, hey Brittany, And even though I didn't see Wish because I ended up watching the new Hunger Games movie, I hope you enjoyed it. To me, Wish looked cringe AF and it looked not finished, like it was still in the editing room. Definitely agree. The song that I heard from the movie on TikTok sounded like garbage. The fact that I don't even know which song you're talking about and I'm just like, yes, I agree, it's pretty bad. And I'm a huge fan of the original Hunger Games movie, and I really wanted to see this new one, so I chose to watch it for Hunger Games. As always, keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Alexander. And I told you guys, I actually really liked the Hunger Games movie. I actually kind of want to see it again. That's how much I liked it. I was shocked by how much I liked it. In fact, I actually watched the first Hunger Games movie with Katniss in it. I watched that the other day just because now I'm in like a Hunger Games mood. But anyway, I hope that you liked the movie, Alexander. I really liked it. And yeah, I think you made the right call. I think the Hunger Games movie is so much better than Wish. And the fact that the reason why I like the Hunger Games movie so much is because I feel like the story does have some weight to it. It does have some meat to it. It is kind of dark in some areas, but not like too visually dark. Like it has the emotional stakes that I feel like I've been missing from Disney movies, and other movies. So I think that's why I really liked Hunger Games a lot. Valerie P, thank you so much for the super chat. What was your favorite song in Wish? Mine is At All Cost. I can't stop listening to it. I liked, what was the one, Knowing What I Know Now? That's the song with all the friends towards the end. That's my favorite song. That's probably, to be honest with you, that's like the only song that I really felt like I was actually grooving to. The others just kind of felt like bland pop ballads to me. But it's totally fine if you like that song. That's totally cool. I feel like the only song that I really liked was the Knowing What I Know Now song, just because it kind of had like a nice drum beat, and I was like, all right, this is something. Astorai says, I think she's just, what are you guys talking about? Jay says, Hunger Games was great. It reignited my interest in the franchise. Same here. Joshua says, Hunger Games is still a flop. Yeah, I mean, it actually held pretty well in its second weekend. It's still not going to do as well as the old movies, but hey, maybe word of mouth is kicking in and people are actually going to see it. I have no idea. We'll see. But getting back to this, Alex says, as a parent of 3 kids, I could tell you it is because we really don't know what we're going to get when we watch Disney movies nowadays. Buzz and Strange World were horrible movies we could barely watch. Not even 7 minutes of them. Wow. Not even 7 minutes. That's awful. My wife is a huge Disney fan and not even she could watch them. This is why my kids were more excited to watch Trolls 3 when that came out versus Wish. They have no interest in this movie. Oh no. But I think it goes beyond being woke because the movies themselves are not even that entertaining. Leo on Netflix got my kids' attention more. I know a lot of you guys were mentioning that Leo on Netflix is actually a lot better. I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I should go watch it and like give a comparison. I don't know. Please let me know in the chat. Should I go watch Leo? But it sucks that even your kids aren't interested in Disney. That's what I'm saying though. I really do think that like kids today, they're not interested in Disney, and that should be Disney's like primary target audience. But right now their primary target audience is Disney adults. Because we're the only ones still like watching their stuff and talking about it. Kids today, they don't care. They think Disney is lame. And they've really got to change that. Emily says Disney needs to take notes from Spider-Verse, especially with Gwen as a female lead. She's not perfect and she makes mistakes, but she tries to do the right thing. Miles too, no more perfect characters. I would love, in my ideal, like, if I could tell Disney, like, a movie that I wish that they would make, I would tell them I want, like, a Disney princess movie, but the princess is an anti-hero. Like, maybe she actually starts off as the villain. Okay, hear this. What if we get a movie where they start off with the princess being the villain, and then over time, through like, I don't know, through the people she meets or like the obstacles she goes through or whatever, she like starts to become good and she realizes like the error of her ways. And so like her character arc is actually going from a Disney villain to a Disney princess. Wouldn't that be cool? Like one that's kind of like both characters? I feel like that would be a really cool movie and something totally different for them. I would be so into that if they did that, to be honest. And get Broadway, like, singer-songwriters to do the music. That would be incredible. Would you guys actually see that? I know, Matthew. I'd kill for a Disney princess as a villain. That'd be so cool. Like, what if we could, like, completely turn the tropes on their head? Like, I think one of the main things people keep complaining about Disney right now is that a lot of the Disney tropes have just gotten tired. So why don't we play with them a bit? Why don't we have, like, a traditional-looking Disney villain-type character be the good guy, and then you have, like, the Disney princess be the bad guy? Wouldn't that be fun? I feel like that would totally work, too, because what people really want to do more than ever right now is just hate on Disney. That's why the first Shrek movie worked. Because all Shrek did was just hate on Disney. And at that point, I think people were getting really tired of Disney too. So what if, like, Disney makes their own kind of Shrek movie? Hear me out. Where it's just like a movie kind of making fun of themselves. I feel like that might actually work. I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, a lot of you guys like this idea. Yeah, that'd be cool. HP says, and maybe she becomes better for the love interest and the opposite of the boy. Yes, that would be so cool, HP. I would love a love interest. Like an actual, genuine, like, love interest. Like, I feel like one of the best relationships that we have in these Disney princess movies is between Rapunzel and Eugene. If we got something else like that, that would be great. Jao Pedro says, I mean, the idea is good, but Disney is not particularly good with subversion. That's true. That's true. I don't think Disney would ever do this. I'm just saying, in a perfect world, this is what I would tell Disney to do. Edward says, that does sound like a great idea. Oh, I'm glad you guys like my idea. This is great. This is really great. All right, going back to this. Okay. Rio Lynn says, there wasn't much promotion of the film, honestly. Also, with the compounding frustration towards the Disney Corporation this year, and many aspects, I can see why people lose interest of this film. It's to the point where allegedly Disney animators have reached out to other movie/TV show YouTube channels where they allegedly dished behind-the-scenes drama anonymously. You know what? I totally believe this. You know what? What's really funny to me about the current state of, like, entertainment news and just entertainment journalism is that so much of it is on YouTube for people like me who, you know, we can just get DMs and emails from random people who work in the industry, like, this is the real tea on what actually happened. And then you can just get, like, Joe Schmo, who lives literally anywhere, telling, like, major billion-dollar companies, like, deep personal secrets. Like, this is the state of entertainment journalism right now. You will go find, like, just the most random channels with, like, really, you know, not professionally done, not highly produced videos at all. Just, like, you know, people just talking like we are now. But they're like, you guys know what happened behind closed doors at Lucasfilm? It's like, why do us random YouTubers know so much about what's going on behind the scenes? It's kind of funny, but also entertaining. I find a lot of this behind the scenes drama more entertaining than the movies they're releasing, to be honest. But it is funny. It is a funny thing to notice. But getting back to this, things like complaining, the push of more activism aspects from bosses rather than a push for story or writing or character development. I'm not surprised by that. I think Wish didn't appeal to people enough to watch in theaters too, especially since it will go to the Disney Plus app ASAP. Families and anyone with slight curiosity will bank on that to watch the film for a lower average price. Also, the Hunger Games prequel is there, and I read the OG book trilogy and just had to see if Rachel was a good actress or not. Yeah, I think, honestly, the Hunger Games and Wish kind of have a similar audience because both skew female, both skew younger. So I kind of think that if Hunger Games hadn't come out at the same time, Wish might have actually done at least slightly better. Because I do think a lot of people probably saw Wish and Hunger Games together and was like, oh, I can only see one. And a lot of people preferred to see Hunger Games. So I definitely think Hunger Games probably hurt Wish a bit. But I also think Hunger Games is, like, a significantly better movie in, like, every way. I really like the Hunger Games movie. Arvin says, have you heard of Jonathan Majors? He is our savior. Oh my gosh, Arvin. I can always count on you for at least one Jonathan Majors joke per stream. I appreciate it. Arvin, again. Hi, Brittney. Hope you had an amazing holiday. I hope you all had an amazing holiday, too. I don't think I said this, but I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Wish was just too simple for me. It wasn't as big as I want it to be, for example. Main character was simple and meh, villain simple and boring, songs simple and predictable, other characters simple and not interesting, animation was simply a torture to my eyes, marketing not enough. The only thing that was a high about this movie was its budget. Oh man, oh Arvid, you really came for this movie. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. We pretty much agree on every point here. The funny thing is, I really had no idea how I was gonna what I was gonna think of Wish before I saw it. I really had no idea because I wanted to like it. I genuinely wanted to like it because it's a Disney princess movie. It's an animated film. I like Disney princess movies. I like Disney. So I was hoping my expectations would be subverted and except they weren't subverted. They were very much confirmed. Yeah, the movie, it's very much a nothing burger. It's just kind of there. It's just so simple, so safe. Once the movie's over, you will immediately forget it once you see it. That's the kind of film it is. And it's just a huge missed opportunity. For a film that's supposed to celebrate 100 years of Disney, you're going to forget it in like 10 seconds. And that's just a shame. It's a huge shame. Aster Flowers says they promised a classic feel to this story, but they didn't lean into it. The worst mistake they made was altering their original concept. Star Wars originally meant to be a humanoid. Star Wars. The star was originally meant to be a humanoid shapeshifter and possibly Asha's love interest. Oh, that would have been interesting. But a guide at the very least. Yeah, why didn't they do that? The right there would have been a meaningful character and made for an incredible story. Yeah, this is supposed to be the origin of the iconic star, after all. I know, this is supposed to be the origin of, where the iconic, wishing star comes from. And to be honest, I kind of feel like even that wasn't really played up in the movie that much. It's just the star is here. It's this is the star. The star. When you wish upon a star, this is supposed to be the star that the song is supposed to be about. And yeah, it kind of feels like it was just treated very unceremoniously. I kind of agree with you. Carlan V, thank you so much for the super chat. The movie's budgets are high because tax write-offs. Is that really it? I hope not. But you might be right. Honestly, I don't know. The fact that Disney movies have budgets that are 2-3 times more expensive than the competition is ridiculous. I mean, I guess they could get away with it at least before the pandemic because every movie they released was doing really well. But now that every movie they release is doing really poorly, they need to make sure their budgets are 100 million or less. They can't afford to go higher than that. Even the Marvel movies, I think they need to go 100 million or less, unless it's an Avengers movie. Even the Scarlet Witch movie, which you guys know I'm very much looking forward to. Even that still needs to be 100 million or less. They just need all of the budgets to go way, way down. If you can make Dune for 100 million, Dune, there is no excuse for these movies to be more than that. Zero. But anyway, getting back to this, where was it? Instead, it was flat and I didn't feel the highs and lows that one should in a Disney film. Overall, it was very generic, underdeveloped, and had everything it needed for vibrant fairy tale to celebrate a century of Disney, but completely missed the mark. I feel like the only thing vibrant about this movie was its color palette. Everything about it was flat and very lifeless. Even how, the camera would sit on the characters. The characters were almost always in the center of the frame. Or, the backgrounds would always be, super, super simplistic. Someone in my comments on one of my videos actually pointed this out. They were an animator, and they said something that they noticed during one of the scenes was that behind Asha, it was just literally just one color. It wasn't even a mixture of colors or a texture. It was just one washed out color behind her. And it was just, he just noticed that the animation just seemed really lazy in this movie. And that's kind of how I would describe it. Unfinished and lazy. And that sucks to say because again, usually I think Disney animation, the animation itself is really good even when the movie is bad. But the animation in this just felt like it was a complete misfire for me. Just complete misfire. Jal Pedro says, you're only interested in the Frozen sequel if they bring back Jack Frost. I don't think they're going to do that. Wouldn't that be crazy if they did? I think 2014 Tumblr girls would go crazy. But anyway, Cherry Blossom Fantasy says, I haven't watched it myself, so I'm not 100% certain. But it seems like Disney creators have caught the everyone loves me no matter what I do bug. Kind of like a little kid who is used to getting whatever they want, still they start doodling on the walls and get their first whiff of no, you can't do that. It just ain't cute anymore. I also think Disney straight up has artist block, yeah. Like they've been programmed to churn out entertainment that they've lost touch with anything with actually wanting to tell a story. Sad times we're living in, truly. You know what? That's a great way of putting it, Cherry Blossom Fantasy. This movie kind of feels like they didn't really have a story to begin with, but they just had like ideas that they wanted to execute. Like they probably knew they wanted this to be a 100-year celebration. They knew that they wanted this movie to be full of Easter eggs. They probably knew that they wanted this to be a Disney princess movie and there would be a villain. But like, that's probably as much planning as they did ahead of time. A lot of this movie just feels like they didn't really have anything they wanted to do with it, or like a direction they actually wanted to take it. It just kind of felt like stuff was happening to happen. That's kind of how I would describe this movie. The Blue Gecko Nerd says Disney wouldn't allow that since they're still competing against DreamWorks till this day. Oh yeah, I know. I'm not actually saying they would ever allow Jack Frost in Frozen 3. I'm not saying that. There definitely wouldn't. But there was definitely an era, like 10 years ago, for some reason, everyone really wanted Elsa and Jack Frost together. Like, that was a huge thing on Tumblr. But anyway, thank you for the comment, Cherry Blossom. I fully agree with you here. Cheetah Viper says, I think a few factors contributed. First, not much positive word of mouth. Lots of reviews are mid. Very true. Number 2, Disney isn't the solid brand it was. People are very skeptical of them now. I just did a whole explanation of that. And 3, Twitter beforehand wasn't pleased with the songs. I think social media in general wasn't pleased. Like, I think the songs were also getting dragged on TikTok. And honestly, TikTok amongst the younger generation has such a huge influence that if something is getting a lot of negative buzz on TikTok, I don't think there's any hope it'll do well. When you think about it, a lot of the movies that have done well, like this past year, had a lot of really positive hype on TikTok specifically. Stuff like Barbie, or even Oppenheimer, Mario, Five Nights at Freddy's, heck, even that Megan movie. But movies that have had like really negative hype or like no hype at all on TikTok have done really poorly. I really think TikTok is like a huge, huge factor in like getting people to go see a movie or not these days. Webslinger says, speaking of Disney movies that they should cancel, they should bring back movies that were canceled, like Treasure Planet 2. They were working on it with the villain Ironbeard, voiced by Willem Dafoe. I would love a Treasure Planet. Honestly, they should do another Treasure Planet. Why not? Heck, if they're going to do something live action, I also feel like maybe that's something they could do. I don't know, as long as they actually got a director and a writer that knew what they were doing, maybe it could be decent. Titan Voyager, thank you so much for being a member, says, I think it bombed because it had its creativity stifled from some high executives, probably. Based on the various initial ideas going into the story, such as the villains being both the king and the wife. Oh, I did not know this. So both the king and his wife were supposed to be the villain? You mean we're gonna get an evil couple? And they said no? That would have been so much more interesting. Disney, what are you doing? And the star being an actual humanoid person, which I think would have made for a better story. Yes, those all seem like much better ideas than what we actually got in this movie. But you know what? They also seem like much more ambitious and riskier ideas. So that's probably why they were turned down. I really think a lot of this is just Disney being way too nervous and wanting to play it safe. I think that's why this movie feels so safe. Because yeah, those original ideas were so much better. Miss Player says, well, truth be told, most Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks movies are comparable thematically and superficially. The most recent are Bad Guys in Zootopia, Luca, and Ruby Gillman. Very true, even though I think Luca is much better than Ruby Gillman. I did not like Ruby Gillman at all. I think Luca is a lot better movie than that, in my opinion. And I know, Arvin, imagine a villain couple song. A villain couple song. Now that's something new. That would be fun. Why couldn't we get that? As long as it didn't have some happy-go-lucky beat like the one in the movie has. Like, it could have been really cool. Yeah, it just screams like they had a lot of executives telling the creatives what to do, and they were telling them to do really negative things for the movie. That's what it sounds like. Chevron Jr. says, like I said, as always, it always has to do with poor marketing. Yeah, again, I think the marketing was pretty lax. I think, honestly, Disney probably gave up on this film, and that's probably what they didn't market it that much, because, yeah, there really wasn't much marketing. Stella XGG says people weren't so interested in the trailer. Marketing was bad. Yeah, the reaction to the trailer was pretty bad. Red Star says, in my opinion, the effort behind the promotion of this movie was very poor. I barely seen any commercials for it, and even if I did, they were extremely short and barely provided information about what the movie would be about. Other than that, the movie looked way too generic and simple. Is it like Disney had a checklist of a basic story and filled all the boxes? Talking animal, check. A cute character for selling toys. Perfect protagonist with no issues, check. Yeah, I mean, this movie is essentially just like the laundry list of like, okay, what makes a Disney movie a Disney movie? Oh, we need a talking sidekick. Okay, check. Disney villain, check. Songs, bright, fun characters. You know, it is very much like if AI was asked to make a Disney movie, it would probably be something like this. That's kind of how the movie feels. Martin Schmidt, thank you so much for being a member, says, price of tickets for mid-meh movies is ridiculous, plus popcorn and snacks. On top of that, Disney Plus is just... Right. Oh yeah, Disney... I forgot. Disney Plus just rose their prices again. How expensive is Disney Plus now? Aren't they like almost $20 now? It's getting ridiculous with all these streaming services and how expensive they're getting. Honestly, ridiculous. So why visit the cinema for poor reviewed movies, which soon will be on Disney Plus? Go to the cinema used to be something amazing. Now it's just something you do. Oh, you'd rather spend money somewhere else, like on your amazing work. Thank you so much, Martin Smith. I totally get what you're saying here. I think again, I think you're alluding here. With so many options on streaming, specifically Disney Plus, especially knowing all these movies are just going to go on Disney Plus within a few months, why would you spend the extra money? Especially since during the pandemic, Disney spent like millions and millions of dollars marketing Disney Plus down our throats, telling everyone, hey, guys, we got Disney Plus. All our Disney movies are just going to be on Disney Plus. Like, they spent several years marketing that fact very, very hard. And I think that mindset is going to be really hard to get people out of, to be honest with you. I think people I don't think this is even just a Disney issue. I think in general, post-pandemic, people are lazier too. Like, it's going to take a lot more to get people off of the couch and out of the house, especially for something that's going to cost money, and tickets are getting more expensive. So, yeah, I think that's part of the issue. I totally agree with you. Star Film Studio, thank you so much for being a member, says, so here's my opinion. What is this? Because I got disappointed in Asha. Well, what? What is this saying? I'm sorry, I don't know what this says. She sucked because she didn't kill Magnifico at the end. Oh, you wanted her to kill Magnifico? Oh, wow, you really wanted Asha to go all the way. Okay. But I play the music, I like the animation, so that's not bad. But here's my take on Wish. The plot of the story is a long time ago, there was an island of magic. Why, you may ask, dear viewers? Well, basically the king give you a wish. If the king, aka Magnifico, destroys your wish, you will die. Is this what you're suggesting you'd wish had happened? But Asha was an innocent person, but until the incident happened, she found out that her father Magnifico, kept his people's wishes just in case they betrayed him. So Asha decided to help the protest who are fighting for freedom and the wishes they wanted, but to a little star came for a Macy's by the king of the wishes and star. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this. To help the protest get the wish, but without the bad people who wanted to destroy us or others. Yeah, let's just say that mine is too dark for a Disney film, but at least my story is better than Wish's story. I like your story. I honestly do. I think your story sounds twisted and devilish. Definitely Disney would never do it, but it definitely sounds more interesting. It sounds like you're willing to take more risks than what Disney is. That's for sure. Thank you for the comment, though. RuPaul's Drag Race Superfan says, hey, Brittany, Because Wish did not look good to begin with. Also, when you hear the songs, most of them are bad, and especially the villain song, which is one of the weakest villain songs ever. I really think it's the worst villain song. It's the worst. You can't even compare it to iconic villain songs like Hellfire and Be Prepared. No, not even close. Also, this movie animation does not look good. It looks weird. Also, nobody trusts Disney no more. Disney has lost the trust of the public. They decided to enter the culture war, and as well, we all see once you start to try to do more politics and put it where it doesn't belong, you lose money. Also, with Wish flopping, Disney has had only 2 successful movies, Guardians 3 and Elemental. Even Elemental is only barely successful. Like, I think they just barely broke even on that film. It's still not like a runaway success Elemental is. It's more just noteworthy that it did have such a comeback, but it's still like, it's not like a phenomenon or anything. But anyway, I honestly, to me, I still consider Guardians 3 to be their only real hit this year. If they keep losing $1 billion a year, they might go bankrupt before Apple can even try to buy them. Also, Brittney, can you do a live about how 2023 is the Disney's worst year ever? I actually was thinking about doing that. So yes, I'm planning on doing that this week, actually. I was going to do a whole live stream about how badly of a year 2023 is going for Disney. So yes, stay tuned for that and make sure you subscribe if you're not so you don't miss that live stream. But I actually am planning to do that, so thank you for bringing it up. Because yes, 2023 has been a monstrally just awful year for Disney. Like, nothing went right for them this year. Nothing. Like, truly, truly nothing went right for them. So yeah, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to have a whole stream on it. It's going to be great. So thank you for bringing it up. But yes, the villain song, totally agree, it's terrible. Evil Connor says, story, characters, and songs lack soul and seem written by AI. It feels completely uninspired. The lyrics to these songs were actually pretty bad. Like, they were so basic. Like, have you guys actually, like, listened to, like, what the lyrics actually are in these songs? A lot of the times they don't even make sense. They just sound like they're saying something to rhyme. It's not good. Even the lyrics are really bad. But totally agree with you. Natanya says, poor marketing, lacks originality, and the songs aren't good. Yes, lacks originality, probably its biggest issue. And Desi B says, haven't seen the movie, but I have watched enough reviews to understand that it's not worth my time. Saber Sparks said in his review something that stuck out to me. He said, this movie was not a celebration of Disney's creation, but a celebration of Disney as a corporation. Yes, I love Saber Spark. I have seen his video. That was a great point he made as well. I would recommend checking out Saber Sparks' review. I have seen it after my review. Thank you. But yeah, it just seems Disney has lost what it made it great. It's magic. And they're too tiptoey with projects. Very tiptoey. I love, that is the perfect way to describe this, Desi B. Tiptoey. Tiptoey. I love that. But yes, how I would describe Wish is Disney being very tiptoey around really anything even remotely like feeling like it might bring anxiety to the viewer. Like, that's how tiptoey they were in this movie. Trying to make everyone happy. Disney is pleasing no one. Yeah, that is, yeah. Really, it really is true. You can't please everyone. You really can't. And I feel like Disney is trying to, and that's how they're losing literally everyone. But great points across the board. Thank you so much for these comments. Love these comments. You guys always have amazing things to say. Really appreciate your support here, guys. But yeah, I did tell you guys I have WTF news, so I do want to get to that in a second. Any other thoughts on Wish before I get to my WTF news? FOF says, Disney feels extremely terrified of their audience while being antagonistic. It's so weird. Yes, thank you. You guys are bringing up great points. They do feel very antagonistic. Like, even, I don't know. Like, I feel like Disney kind of almost has, like, disdain for their viewer in a lot of their projects. I actually feel like this is more prevalent in their Disney Plus shows than their movies. But in their shows, it just feels like they do not like their viewer. Like, they talk down to their viewer in a lot of their shows. I totally agree with you. Yeah, a lot of their movies and shows just feel really out of touch. They feel like very tiptoey, very simple, and like very, like they're copywriting themselves at this point because they're just like going over the same tropes over and over again. That's why a lot of Disney movies just feel very mid right now. Jovic says the songwriter for this was from pop music. Yes, we did talk about it in my review in the last stream. Yes, that's why the music isn't that great. They just got like another pop writer, and they should have gotten a Broadway writer. They need Broadway writers for these kind of movies. All right, let's get to the WTF news. So the WTF news is actually about AI because I don't know why people are doing this now, but apparently you can like put in a meme. Send in a meme to AI and they'll try to animate it for you. So everyone knows this very famous meme here. Well, now you can see what it looks like in motion. Isn't this creepy? This is how advanced AI is getting. I wonder if like in the future, even like as soon as like 2 years from now, I wonder if we'll get like a whole short film on this throuple here and like what's going on with them. I bet that's gonna happen. We're gonna get like a whole AI movie based off of memes. I totally think it's gonna happen. Because, like, look at... I mean, I know they're kind of morphing. It doesn't look 100% great, obviously. But once the tech is good enough, you can just, like, keep continuing this video and, like, see what happens next. And then next. And then next. And you get a whole movie. This is gonna be crazy for memes. Like, crazy. I mean, not just memes. Crazy for everything. But, like, imagine the memes of the future is what I'm saying. We're going to have some crazy, crazy memes. This is definitely WTF news in my opinion. Okay, Joe Pedro thinks it's cursed. Okay. I know they do kind of turn into different people. She, like, grows a jacket. It's very cursed. Yeah. Cinnamon Roll says, I like the movie, honestly. Oh, you're talking about Wish. Oh, I'm glad you like the movie. Brianna, I know, she grew a sleeve. She grew a sleeve. I know it's creepy. I know the AI is obviously not perfect, but look at the potential. Just look at the potential of where it's going. And it just gets so much worse from there. We're about to enter a very weird future is what I'm saying. But anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. That's my live stream. Of course, I have another live stream tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have more to talk about. And I'll see you guys then. This was a great stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I also did, again, I just uploaded a video earlier today at 1 with like more of my thoughts on Wish. So if you guys want to see that, please go watch that video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.